Welcome back, Troglodytes, to the Trogly's Guitar Show. We have a new model on the channel. This is a limited run of guitars that Gibson did in the mid-2000s, known as the Vegas High Roller. They made two versions of this guitar, the High Roller, which is the higher end, kind of like a custom, and then they have what they call the Vegas Standard. Now the High Roller, which is this one, got a mahogany back and mahogany neck with a maple top that's heavily flamed, as you can see here. They also have ebony fretboards with custom block inlays. Another very unique thing is Gibson used gold fret wire on this model. It's a little hard to see, it almost just looks like your frets are rusty. So while it was a very cool thing for Gibson to try, I don't think it worked out very well. Another feature is the Grover tuners have pearl tips on them. I think these were trying to symbolize like dice. I think that would have been cool if they would have inlaid the little dice numbers on them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. These guitars are constructed in the semi-hollow body style with traditional F-holes, and it has Burstbucker Pro pickups. Now, I've known about this model for a while now, but I never thought I'd really buy one because I was a little bit leery because I had a bad experience with one of the Midtown series. The Midtown series kind of looks similar to this, but the Midtown that I had, it felt like this mahogany part was still solid, and then they just kind of chambered out a few sound holes for it. It was really heavy, and I didn't like it. If I'm gonna have a semi-hollow, I want this body to be like super light. So I was scared the High Roller was gonna be made the same way. However, once I got this, I picked it up out of the case, I was like, yes. So these really are unique guitars. Unfortunately, I don't have a crazy story behind this one, but I would suggest checking one of these out if you ever do see them. These guitars are kind of rare to come by. I would say they're very similar to the Les Paul Goddess series, where now that they're no longer available, you'll see these sell for higher and higher prices as time goes on. So this guitar is kind of a 335 body shape. As you can see, it's not perfectly symmetrical like a 335. It's a little bit altered, but you have a Firebird headstock and a Les Paul custom fretboard. The nice thing about this guitar having the Firebird headstock is you don't necessarily have the tuning stability problems that comes from the original Gibson headstock design. All of these strings pretty well go in straight to the nut. That way you don't have that pinching that occurs. Now it's not perfect, but it's a lot better than the original 335 design. The top is a very nice glossy finish. It has your traditional nitro feel. However, the back is not, and I like this feature. It almost has more of a satin feel. It's like the lacquer just sank into the wood grain. So all this wood grainage you can kind of feel when you're playing it. It almost has that sanded down neck vibe to it. Another nice feature about these guitars is they do have back plates. So if you want to change the pickups, you don't have to be fishing through the F-holes like you have to on a 335. One small complaint I have, I wish it wasn't a flat top. I wish it at least had a little bit of a curve to it, because that would make it feel more high-end for me. If you look on like the Guitar Center websites or Sweetwater, their old listings, the stock photo for the High Roller actually had Super 400 inlays. Now, I couldn't find an actual real photo of one of these guitars that made it out of the Gibson factory with those inlays, and I did call Gibson and question them on that. They said they all came with these block inlays, so I'm guessing there might be a prototype or two out there that does have the Super 400 inlays. Personally, I think those Super 400 inlays would have sold this guitar to me. I find the custom blocks are just a little bit blah on this model, and I usually like them a lot. Unfortunately, Gibson did not have a write-up for this model, so once again, I did call them to see what the official colors were called. They told me there were 3 finishes available, called Felt Green, which is this one, Neon Roulette Red, and Desert Sunset. Now, there's also a purple one out there. So I don't know if the Gibson customer service representative just forgot to tell me that one, but I don't know the official name of it, so we'll just call it Purple Burst. But basically, you have one that's an all red color, then you have a red one that has the rim burst, then there's the purple one with the rim burst, and then this green one, once again on a rim burst. Now the lower end model, called the Vegas Standard, I think almost looks just as fancy as this guitar, except for the finish. Google image search showed me one that was a cherry color, and then a darker wine red, a black, a tobacco sunburst in the traditional teardrop shape, a vintage sunburst with the rim burst, and then a natural. Those ones had diamond F-holes, and I wish they were kind of flip-flop between the model, because those give the Trini Lopez or the Dave Grohl vibe. They also had the split diamond inlays on the fretboard. I view those inlays as more special than these block inlays, simply because they were used on a model called the US-1, and Neil Schon also had that inlay on some of his guitars. So overall, this is just kind of an interesting guitar that not everybody knows about. The Vegas High Rollers definitely have some exotic looking finishes, and they have the gold hardware. So I would definitely suggest checking one out. This one weighs 6 pounds 9.7 ounces, and it features a slim 60s neck profile. Let's go ahead and take a look at the condition of this guitar. Now this guitar is actually in pretty good shape. It's just been lightly played, mainly collector owned, but we do have a few scratches to go over. You can see you've got a small impression right up here. Honestly, I didn't even know about that till just right now when I got the light on it here. So just a few minor scratches on the face of the headstock. I would definitely say this impression mark is the worst of it. It probably just got caught on something at one point in time. Your truss rod cover has your Gibson logo on it. Your truss rod works just fine. Once again, you have your ebony fretboard with custom block inlays with gold fret wire. Again, the gold fret wire just kind of makes your frets look rusty. I actually just thought these frets were rusty and they needed a cleaning. So after I did that and they were still this gold color, it's like, did Gibson really do gold fret wire on this? And I was surprised to find they did. I had one of the nicest Les Paul customs I've ever played that somebody had refretted with gold fret wire. I think that one looked better than this stuff, but hey, it is a cool feature. Now the face of the guitar does have some player's wear to it, but not too much overall. You can see here there's some smudges just from handling it, as well as some light picking marks, and where it rests against your body there's a small ding right there. But beautiful top on this one. And once again, this finish is called felt green, kind of like a table at a casino. Here again, just some very light wear. And in the picking area where a pickguard would be, there is quite a few scratches. They're not really showing up that well. I just polished this area, but you can see right there that smudge. So somebody definitely has played this guitar. And there is a very small ding right there where the light is. So overall, if you can live with some light picking scratches and a ding and a few where your arm rests, this is a really clean example. Back of the headstock, the serial number is 027560599, made in USA. A little hard to see, but it is there. And again, the back of the neck has more of a satin feel to it. It's not glossy, and I love that. It prevents a lot of dings from happening, but what they become is small impression lines. Now, I don't see too much wear around the top of the headstock. You might have a few light dings like right there, but overall it is fairly clean. Beautiful 60s neck profile and made of mahogany here. I do not see any major impressions on the neck, but there might be one or two I am missing. The back of the guitar looks like 4 pieces to me. There's a very small grafted on piece right here. Looks like your next line is about right in the middle there, and then there is a small little section right here. So for the most part, it's mainly 2 pieces with a few side pieces put on. There are a few very light buckle impressions on the back. Not many, just mainly in this middle area. The main one is right here. This guitar is all original, and once again, in phenomenal shape for how old it is. The sides do have a few very small impressions from like a rivet in your jeans. But once again, this thing is in phenomenal shape. I think it'll please most collectors and definitely make somebody very happy as a player. Now we'll do a blacklight test. With this one being roughly a decade old and not really being out in the sun, you see it doesn't glow too much, but it does have what it should have. The face of the headstock does have that familiar glossy vibe to it, but the back of the guitar is definitely just that satin feel once again. But no breaks, cracks, or repairs as we can see here. And no major areas of wear, but you can see a few little minor areas here. But overall, this guitar definitely passes the blacklight test. This guitar does still have its original Gibson USA rectangle case. You can see it does have a few small scuffs here and there. Some of the Tolex is torn there, and some other scuffs, but overall it's in good shape. Now, I don't know about you, but I hate these giant rectangle cases, and when I saw that's what Gibson gave these, I was kinda sad. However, I'm very pleased to announce that this is not the size of like an Explorer case. In fact, it's actually pretty much the exact same size as a Les Paul case, except for, obviously, it's rectangle instead of Les Paul shaped. The interior is the charcoal gray color, and there's no funky odors or anything here. It's just the original case. It holds the guitar well. And you do have a large compartment in here for storing your strap and anything else you might wish to have. If you think you might be interested in owning this Gibson Vegas High Roller, feel free to contact me on my Facebook page, facebook.com/Troglys, Troglys. Thank you, Troglodytes, for tuning in today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you tomorrow to learn something new. Take care.